Welcome back, everybody. Matt the Bat here. Hope you're doing well. I was thinking the other day, about a month or two ago, I did a podcast. We haven't seen any swashbuckling movies in a long time. And I mentioned, like, The Mask of Zorro, Three Musketeers, The Count of Monte Cristo, Pirates of the Caribbean. I also just did a podcast on that, about them rebooting that. That's a great podcast. You can go watch it. Um, and I think about the other day I was watching the sequel to The Mask of Zorro, The Legend of Zorro. Came out in 2005, around October. I know this for a fact because at the time I was a sophomore in high school, and I was taking first time taking Spanish, beginner Spanish, and my teacher was from, I think, Colombia, but she didn't know any English. I had a teacher teaching intro to Spanish to people who were fluent in English but didn't know Spanish. And she was fluent in Spanish but knew zero English. Fun time. That's how I remember when that second Zorro movie came out. Which, the point I'm here to make on this podcast is by next year, it will be 20 years since we last got a Zorro movie with Antonio Banderas. Now, I also bring this up because we are in the phase of Hollywood where everyone likes to do a long-awaited sequel, as we like to call them, legacy sequels, like Top Gun Maverick, like we're just gonna get Beetlejuice 2. We just got Hocus Pocus 2 a couple years ago. Even like a Halloween 2018, where we brought back Jamie Lee Curtis, or Terminator Dark Fate, where we brought back Linda Hamilton since Terminator 2 back in 91, or Michael Keaton, not only as Beetlejuice, but we saw him last year as Batman again in The Flash. Even though that was not technically a sequel legacy. But you get what I'm saying. We're getting Beetlejuice 2. We're getting, we got Hocus Pocus 2. We got Top Gun Maverick. We got Terminator Dark Fate. You get the point I'm making. And I said to myself, why haven't we gotten a Zorro in the Zorro, Mask of Zorro, Legend of Zorro third film in this franchise? Now I know the second one wasn't that good. I don't know why they made it PG when this was PG-13. This was dark, edgy, still fun, a lot of fun, but it had that more violence and all that. And they made the sequel PG, brought in a kid. I think they wanted to be more kid-friendly, like they did with The Mummy Returns, where Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz, Evie and Rick O'Connor had a kid. And even though that one definitely wasn't as dark as the original Mummy, it still had a dark moment. But yeah, it was still playing for the child, to get kids in the theater. And that's what they did with The Legend of Zorro. But at least the Mummy was still PG-13. The Legend of Zorro was PG. Also, you didn't have Anthony Hopkins. And for some reason, they decided to have The Legend of Zorro have Zorro and the wife, Catherine Zeta-Jones, have marital problems. That's what everyone wants to go see in a Zorro movie. Marital problems. Yeah. That's the ticket. So, but still, the movie was still semi-successful. No, it got bad reviews. But we've seen a lot of movies, Terminator, get bad reviews, Transformers, and still make sequels. And I thought to myself, they should make a sequel, a legacy sequel, and either you can retcon number 2 and say that never happened, that way you don't have to deal with the kid, and just have a long-awaited sequel from the original from 1998, and then have a movie where Antonio Banderas, who is older now, is trying to find someone to take up the mantle of Zorro, just like Anthony Hopkins tried to do in the original. And or you keep the second movie, and you have this dueling of son wants to be Zorro, but father realizes this guy can't be Zorro, and he goes out and finds someone else to become Zorro, or you do have the son become Zorro. I mean, it just depends how you want to do it. Do you want to keep the Legend of Zorro in the continuity, or do you want to retcon that one and do a true sequel to the original? That's up to you. But I would be like, that would be an interesting movie. You bring back Catherine Zeta-Jones. She's still great. Great looking. The whole 9 yards. Bring back Antonio Banderas. He's still got it. And you find that actor who's now grown up. And I got two actors that come to mind right away. Noah Centineo. He's been recently on the Netflix show The Recruit. He's been in a lot of Netflix stuff. But he is someone I can easily see not only being like the grown-up son of De La Vega, and Antonio Banderas and Catherine Zeta-Jones. On that level, he has the look. And we see it in The Recruiting and new action. Or you can get him to play the son, who's now older. Or I would say go with like a Dylan O'Brien, who also showing in new action. He's around that age that he can look like he's in his 20s. And bring him in to either be the son, or like I said, if you don't want to go down that route, be a new apprentice. Kind of like what Antonio Banderas was in the original for Anthony Hopkins. I don't know, I was just thinking, why haven't they made a third Zorro movie? I mean, this would be the perfect opportunity to do a legacy sequel with Antonio Banderas, Catherine Zeta-Jones, and bring someone new in to take up the mantle of Zorro. But once again, you gotta make it PG-13. You gotta make it fun. You gotta still have that humor, but also have that edge to it. Sexual humor, sexual playfulness, like in the original. Make it sexy and hot at the same time, like the original. But have the action, have the swashbuckling, have the great humor, and have a great villain, and go out on a high note. You know, make a 2-hour fun adventure action film. And then we haven't seen a Zorro movie in over almost 20 years. It's time to give us a new Zorro. Let me know in the comments below. Do you want to see a new Zorro movie? Would you want to see a legacy sequel to the original? Or even after the second one, The Legend of Zorro, where Zorro has to find someone to take up the mantle, whether his son, who's now grown up, or another predecessor like he was in the original. Let me know in the comments below. Matt the Matt here. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, and